What's going on, everyone? Dan back here at the Regular Guy Garage. Ended up having a bunch of parts show up. I did do a little bit of work on the car without filming it, so let's go. Basically what I ended up doing, I put the electric water pump on. Not really anything too crazy with bolting it on. I haven't wired it up yet, but I will make sure that I show you guys the process for that. It's relatively simple. Also, I have the alternator relocation bracket from Moroso. I am actually going to do a video on that specifically, a little how-to, because I was looking out there to see how to move it to this side, and the way the kit comes, it comes with a bunch of bolts and adapters and stuff. The kit is basically built in a way where you can use it on several different setups if you want. I mean, you could put it on this side of the engine or on that side like I have it. I put it over there because, like I said, the turbo is going to sit on this side. But yeah, I'm going to do a video specific to that, show you how I set it up and how I have it adjusted so that this way the belt is going to be straight. I just need to measure it and get a belt for it. You know, after a little bit of trial and error, it wasn't too bad. It's a nice little kit. But yeah, next video or one of the next videos I should have, it will be an entire in-depth how-to of setting up that bracket. Some other stuff I got in an MSD solid-state relay. That's going to help us wire up all of the stuff that we have into the Holley Terminator through this one relay. And instead of, you know, hooking up several different relays on their own, we can hook it all up to this MSD solid-state relay, run everything through the Terminator. Terminator will control all of it, and yeah, it basically simplifies everything. So I'll have a video on that as well once I wire it up. Right now I just have it, so it's in that box right there. But what are we going to be doing today? Well, as you guys saw, I took the steering rack out last time, and I finally got the manual steering rack in. And I haven't opened it yet, but I will say the box feels super light. So aside from it taking some drag off the engine with the power steering pump being gone, it's definitely going to save us a little weight too. So let's go ahead and open that up and see what we got. So this is a Flaming River steering rack. It is part number FR1503 for the 79 to 93 Foxbody. Manual steering rack, not much to it at all. I mean, it takes away all of the you know, steering lines and all that stuff. Saves us a lot of weight. It's going to make our steering a little harder, but we've got enough weight taken off the front. We should be all right. And then also when you get that, you need this steering shaft. This is one that, you know, it was recommended. I bought this off Amazon and it was recommended, and in the comments they said that this one works. So I guess while we are putting this inside the car, yeah, we'll see if it works, and you guys will know if you're going to buy this setup which one to get. Now, as far as cost for the manual steering rack, the rack itself was $219, and then the steering shaft was $179. So you're looking at about, well, after taxes it was like 425 bucks total, which seems like a lot, but I mean, depending on what you're actually doing with your car, will determine, you know, if that price is good for you. Something that I really just wanted to start being more transparent with, because a lot of people ask me, I'll just put it right up here, what these parts actually cost. So this way you guys will know what to expect if you're looking to do the same thing. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my old steering rack, set it up over here, show you guys how I'm going to get this new steering rack as close to center as possible and as close to the position that everything is in now, so we, you know, more than likely don't have to get the car aligned. We'll have it checked, but there shouldn't be any crazy, you know, angles within the steering that the car won't be able to be driven on. So all right, so go ahead and get the rack laid out on some cardboard or something like that. You know, it is leaking a little tiny bit of power steering fluid. Every time I think it's empty, it decides to pour out like another, you know, another cup or so more. So what I'm going to do is I have it laid out as flat as I possibly can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically pick it up so that it's flat as can be, and then mark it on the cardboard. And then the same thing on this side, mark it on the cardboard. And then I'm going to get my tape measure out and measure the distance of that. And that will give me, from the tip of the tie rod ends, both of these right here, exactly where they're going to be. And then what I'm going to do, make sure that steering rack is in the center. I'll show you how to do that. And then we're basically just going to set it up so that the distance that this one is the distance that that one's going to be. All right, so the distance between my two marks is 55¼ inches. So that's what I'm going to set up the new steering rack to once I get it centered. All right, so there's the comparison of the two side by side. I will say this steering rack is incredibly light. the one up, the power steering rack, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not like super heavy, you know, I could obviously hold it with one hand, but this one, I mean, I could probably easily lift it with one finger. I mean, yeah, this is super light. All right, so the method that we're gonna use to ensure that this rack is in the center, it's probably close to center, but I just wanna verify. So what I'm gonna do first is turn it all the way to one side before I do anything. All right, so now that I'm locked out, completely locked out, what we're gonna do is mark the shaft and then mark the case. And now what I'm gonna do is rotate the steering shaft all the way till it locks out on the other side and count the amount of revolutions. Then what we're gonna do is divide that in half and then turn it back halfway to then put us as close to the center as we can absolutely possibly be. So we got one rotation, two rotations, three rotations, and a half. About 3/4. So 3 3/4 rotation, because our marker's over here. So now what I'm going to do is go back. I need to go back. If it's 3 3/4, now I need to do math because I'm not the best mathematician out there. All right, so let's do 3.75 divided by 2. We got to go back 1 7/8 turn. Boy, that's going to be interesting. All right, so here's our 3/4. There's our 1. There's 1 1/2. And then that's probably 1 7/8. Right about there. Now with the rack in the center, I'm going to break those tie rod ends off, or bump steer kit, whatever you want to call it. So then I'm going to thread those on, and then when I take this steering rack and put it up there where the marks are, it should line right up perfectly, and then we can go ahead and throw it up in the car. One thing that you make sure you need to do before threading these on is make sure that this lock nut is on. Otherwise, you're going to realize that you need it after you've threaded it all the way on, and that's just going to be really annoying. All right, so before you put this back up in the car, make sure you get your steering rack bushings off of the old steering rack, or if you got some new ones, go ahead and put those on. I'm just reusing the old ones. They're still in fairly good shape. No issues with them. Yeah, I'm going to stick this up in the car. Not going to film it because it's going to be pretty hard to do that, see it, and work underneath the car at the same time. So we'll go ahead and pick back up when I get it in the car. All right, so what you're going to find out when you put this steering shaft on is that it's like the littlest bit too short. Right? And now, it's not a huge deal, I don't think, because I can adjust these this shaft in a few spots. So what I'm going to do is loosen up all the jam nuts, which there's two on each collar. I'm going to loosen them up, get it over this shaft, and then I'll go ahead and lock them all down. So as you can see, I was able to adjust the steering shaft so it did fit. So now it fits perfectly on there. All you have to do is, as you can see those little Allen keys and those lock nuts, you loosen them up all the way up the shaft. You kind of wiggle the shaft to the point to where you have it sitting over the rack, and then you want to make sure you still have enough meat sitting on within those couplings, and then you just go ahead and lock them all down. Super simple, super easy. All right, and then do not forget to tighten everything down. Make sure you tighten your tie rod ends, and then tighten the bolts for the actual rack itself. Also, don't be like me and lose one of the spacers for your bump steer kit. It fell onto my chest and then entered the netherworld, and I have no clue where it is. Luckily, it was one for the bottom, so whatever. I mean, we still have the correct steering geometry. We're just missing one of those spacers, so hopefully we never have to change that. Another thing you want to make sure you don't do like me is putting the steering wheel on upside down. So the way the shaft is, you know, as I was messing with it under the car to get it to slide in properly, I didn't realize that the wheel inside the car was upside down. Luckily, those same adjusting nuts that I used to make the shaft long enough to fit, you just go ahead and readjust them, pull the shaft out, rotate the steering wheel that 180 degrees, and put it on. And so now we have a nice straight steering wheel with nice straight wheels. Everything worked out perfectly fine. Yeah, so everything goes together really nice. Can't wait to get this car on the ground and see what it actually feels like. Anyway guys, this kit was really nice, really simple, really straightforward. Really liked it. Again, it's the Flaming River steering rack with the Borgenson steering shaft. All fit together really nice, really well made. Can't wait to get it out there on the road and give it a shot. Hope this helped you guys out. And then again, be on the lookout for the next videos. Like I said, got a bunch of stuff in. Been doing, you know, plugging away slowly but surely at the car. We got a lot of work to get done. I'm hoping I can get the car racing at some point this year, but I mean, we'll see. Maybe later on in the year. I have a lot of stuff that I want to do to it, and you know, we're just kind of slowly but surely getting it done. So, alright guys, so that's going to be it for this one. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, follow along with the build. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. As always, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.